Welcome to Reston's African American Legacy Series. My name is Laverne Gill, and I am so glad that you're with us today. We have three extraordinary people as usual. Aline Smith, who is a longtime Reston resident. Ruby Hamilton, who is also a longtime Reston resident. And William Allen Robinson, a young man who has done great things with his music. And so we look forward to having you learn more about them. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce a new person on our team. Deanna Miller.
Hi.
Hi. Deanna is a recent Howard University graduate. She is our new production assistant, and she has been a resident of Reston. And we look forward to working with her, and we're just so excited to have you on board. She's going to bring us up to date on all of the things that we need to do in social media and other things that many of us are not good at. And so we welcome you, Deanna, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
And now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. We want to welcome today Aline Smith. Aline is a longtime resident of Reston. She is well known in the education community. Euleen Bevins is my co-host today. And so we're looking forward, aren't we, Euleen?
Yes, we are.
To talking to Aline. So this is your show for the next 8 minutes.
Oh.
So give us an idea of some of the things that you have done to enrich Reston's community.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. I've been in Reston for 47 years. Moved here with my husband and my 2 children in 1968. My husband, we were very active in Boston, moved here from Boston, and he was very busy there. So when he came here, he started the same business. I said, oh no. So he started an organization called Reston Black Focus, and I said, oh great, after he started it, because it helped us to make sure that the black culture and black lifestyles not get lost in a new and growing community. So he started that organization, gave it his name, Reston Black Focus. And
what was your husband's name?
Rodney Smith.
Because I never met him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I heard so much about,
Yeah.
you know, what happened early on and the things that he had done. And Reston Black Focus is what drew me here.
It drew a lot of people here. This is what I was going to say. So he started the organization. In fact, we planted a tree in back of Hickory Cluster for Martin Luther King Jr. to honor him because he had died. He was killed the year before, I believe. Mm-hmm. So after Reston Black Focus, we had it was a social and educational organization. Did a lot of things, very well respected in the community by the elected officials and community leaders. So whenever we had something, we had their support. So after my husband died, I continued Reston Black Focus. And then I found myself doing other kinds of things. I started working at the White House, the Jimmy Carter here. Jimmy Carter, I was at his White House, and also Ronald Reagan's White House. So I was able to bring a lot of the stuff that I learned there back to the community. And I was also there to meet the Pope John, I think, years ago. Yeah. I was there to help him when he came here. So I've been blessed to do a lot of wonderful things. After the Focus and the White House things, I think I left before that and moved to Cambridge, went to Harvard for my graduate work. And
now your field is?
Education, administration, planning.
Mm-hmm.
So came back to Reston with my 2 children, and I was just telling the gentleman earlier that they could understand they had a drop of snow and we didn't have any school here. Because coming from Boston, snow was way up there. But anyhow, came back and I started becoming active in the community again.
You also worked at a college too, didn't you?
I worked at for the president of Northern Virginia Community College, and I retired from George Mason University. So yeah, I've been.
You helped a lot of people at George Mason, young people.
Yes, I helped a lot. Half of the kids in Reston, they know me. And I worked at Trinity College in Washington, D.C. I worked for the president there. So I've had some very nice experiences. After working at the colleges, my husband died, and he was going into Washington every Sunday to take our kids and me to church. But I decided that it was important for my kids, my two kids, to have the Black religious experience. So I called my friends to my house, asked them if they would like to start a church. And they came to my house, and I called Enoch Butler, and he said, of course, Reverend Enoch Butler, I should say. And he said, of course. And so he was our pastor. So that was a nice experience for the kids and for the community.
Are the kids involved in education now, or music, or?
Well, they're not involved in music, I don't think. Let me think. I have 4 grandkids. I have to say that. 2 children, they're adults, 4 grands, and 5 great-grands.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and my youngest grand is a friend of Deanna, friend of Deanna. But he just graduated in May, and he said he didn't want to come back to Reston. So
where is he now?
He's in Arlington. He lives in Arlington, has a wonderful, wonderful job. Before he got the job, he was working for the Redskins, an internship in their PR department, and he loved it. What a great experience he had. After leaving there, he got this job, which was great. Then my granddaughter, when she left college, when she graduated from college, I should say, she and her roommates said they're not coming back to Virginia, so they live in New York. So I cried, but then I
got over it.
Yeah, I had to, because they wanted to live there. But when she was home the last time, she said, Nanny, I don't know if the big city is for me, so we'll see what happens with her. But in any event, and then my oldest son, he's trying to get into football, NFL, so he just had surgery on his knee. So he's in Boca Raton, Florida, recuperating from his surgery. So we hope he does well.
But you know, Ellen, so many people have commented on all of the significant things you've done in education, how you have helped so many young people and mentored them, especially at George Mason. And I think you were awarded the Outstanding Educators Award by Martin Luther King Jr. Foundation at one point. And so you have been very much involved in this community and have enriched it significantly. And I think the thread of what you've done goes through so many different areas. But Reston Black Focus has been documented as being, I guess, kind of the premier social cultural organization. But was Reston Black Focus also kind of an activist group as well?
Yes. It was active. Education and all the different, socially it was active. If anything happened in Reston regarding African Americans, they came to Reston Black Focus to talk to us, see what they should do. And we became a sister city with Johnny's and organization. Well, Johnny was a part of Reston Black Focus. So we became sister city in Africa. I'm trying to think of the name of the city, but it's in Africa. But it's done some significant things. I wrote the first letter to start Jack and Jill. My memory, I'm a senior citizen, my memory isn't that good. But so, the other thing that I'm very proud of is that we did not have a hospital in Reston, and my son had asthma, and we were on the highway taking him back and forth to Fairfax Hospital. And then a group of us got together and said we should bring a hospital to Reston. And one thing I will say about the people in Reston, when they want something here, they will work hard and they will get it here. So we worked hard. We went back and forth to Richmond testifying before the commissions in Northern Virginia to bring a hospital to Reston. So we were successful. And then whenever I go to the hospital, I said, listen, this is my hospital, so treat me nice.
This has been a wonderful opportunity to hear some of the things, just a snapshot of some of the things that you have done. We know it in no way exhausts the things that you've done while you're here.
Now, when do you plan to write a book? Because I heard you say something about it.
Well, I've started.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Well, that's the first step.
And I've just been jotting down notes and things because I've had some great experiences.
Okay.
So.
Well, we have certainly enjoyed this moment. We have a little token of our appreciation for all the things that you've done.
Oh, thank you.
And you truly are one of Reston's pioneers.
Thank you so much.
And we are so proud of you.
Thank you very much.
So proud of having this opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you.
We want to thank you for joining us with Reston's African American Legacy Series. I'm Laverne Gill. This is Eulene Bevins and Aileen Smith. Welcome back to Reston's African American Legacy program. I'm Laverne Gill, and my co-host is Gloria Durham. Welcome.
Thank you.
Our guest today is Ruby Hamilton. And Ruby Hamilton has been a resident of Reston for quite some time. And she's a familiar face, not only within Reston, but if you go to the Inova Hospital, you will see her volunteering. As a matter of fact, it was good to see your face when I was in the hospital. Welcome, Ruby.
Thank you.
You've been here in Reston since when?
We moved here in 1975, and I worked at the time. I worked downtown D.C., and we had terrible bus transportation, so I just traveled. All I did for the first few years was to travel to work and come home. We didn't see Reston until the weekends because it was so, the transportation was very bad. But I moved here in '75, and my son was just almost 2 years old. And while living here, I met a few friends. I had one friend that lived in my neighborhood, and she told me about the church that was being started. It was Christian Community Fellowship Church at the time.
They used to meet at the...
We used to meet at the Southgate.
At Southgate. Oh, that was the early days.
That was the early days, yes. That's more like in 1978. But I went there. She invited me. They were just getting started. And I went, and I loved it. And of course, as you can see, I stayed, and we grew so rapidly that we had to move from there to the community center. And from the community center, we brought in a full-time pastor, and we did some great things. I can remember in 1986, we had the Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, L. Douglas Wilder, to come up and speak with us. And it was wonderful because I knew him. I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, and going to high school, I used to pass by his office every day to and from school. And I knew him because he used to be very good friends with one of our neighbors. And so that was wonderful to see him to come up, and I
So now this church was the predecessor to Heritage?
Yes.
And Martin Luther King?
Oh, yes. We were Christian Community Fellowship Church first, and then we changed it to, once we moved from the community center, we built a church on Foxmoor Road, and we named it, that's when we changed the name to Heritage Fellowship United Church of Christ.
Okay, so the church split. Martin Luther King was
Well, not right away. Well, it did. It split while we were meeting at the community center.
Okay.
It split from our church and Martin Luther King started their church.
Okay.
So
Then you became a founding member or a charter member?
I was a charter
Heritage?
member. They had already started when I started attending it. They had already founded the church. So I became a charter member.
Well, that's some history in and of itself. You're also been working with the National Council of Negro Women?
Yes, I've been working with them. I've been a member. I haven't been an active member for many years because my family have all been members of the NCNW. But I am a member now and have been for the last 10 years an acting member.
Tell me a little bit about the National Council, because many people don't know about
I
that.
know they don't. Well, we're supposed to be doing community things for African Americans or anybody who's really in need of anything. And we do that. We try to do that. Like we had a mentoring program for, they were elementary school girls going from elementary into junior high to kind of gradually get them into going from, from elementary to junior high. So we kind of mentored those. We did that. And we do things like, we have, we try to take young girls down to the African American history museums and do whatever we can for anybody who's in need. We're not allowed to give out scholarship money or anything like that, but we can do things for young people or for anybody who's in need. And it's not just so much for African Americans as it used to be, but for anybody who's in need, I think. Yeah.
So it's more of an educational and cultural organization.
Exactly, yes.
That with chapters around the country.
All around there, all around, we've got the North. This one is the Reston Dulles chapter that we're in, Ashburn and Reston. Then there's one in Arlington, and all over, one in New Jersey. They were all over. My relatives all belong to the one in New Jersey.
So you have a long tradition of service.
Yeah, I have. I try to do what I can. Yeah.
So do you have programs for youth?
We haven't yet. We try. We're in the process of trying to get some programs together for youth. We try to take young girls. We mainly deal with young girls. We've had try to take them on cultural events, and we try to teach them proper manners and things like that. But yeah,
That's needed.
that's very much needed. Yes.
People laugh at that, but that is
it
where
is.
our culture has been, I think, probably the kind of help that organizations like that
Right.
gave to young people helped a lot of us grow up and be able to meet the world when we were able to get out there.
Exactly.
So the National Council of Negro Women is one of those organizations
Right.
that prepared young girls to be young women.
Exactly.
So-
That's what we try to do.
Yeah. Now you also were a founder of another church.
Well, it's it's the Community of All People Church. We meet at Washington Plaza Baptist Church at 4:00 in the afternoon. But yeah, that was we left Heritage, and started that little church. So we did.
So that church is, how long has that been?
About 5 years now.
Okay.
We've been meeting for about 5 years.
Okay, so and it has a full-time pastor, or?
Yeah, we have he's the pastor of Plymouth Church in Washington,
Church of
D.C.
Christ.
United
Mhm.
Church of Christ, yes.
In
And he
D.C.
comes out at 4:00 every Sunday.
Mhm.
And we also have Mary Smith, who's also one of the founders.
Yeah. We're hoping to get her on the show.
Okay, good.
Reverend Mary Barino Smith,
Good.
who is also the chaplain at Inova Fairfax.
Right.
Ruby, you're one of these people that you can always call on.
Thank you. I try.
To be involved
Yeah.
in what's going on in the community. And so I am just so thankful to have you on, because you represent that kind of spirit that so many
Thank you.
people can appreciate, when they
Thank
can
you
make
so
that
much.
phone call and say, let's call
Ruby.
Ruby Hamilton.
Can you help?
She can help, and she will.
Yes.
How long have you
Thank
been doing volunteer work?
Well,
In the hospital?
you know what? I've been doing volunteer work, over 20 years. We know about Laverne's Work Sunday program. But yeah, I've been working with the Fairfax Hospital about 3-4 months. And I volunteered at the Closet in Herndon. And so I've been doing that about 5 years too. So I've been doing volunteer work ever since I've been in Reston.
How did you
So-
get
so-
involved with the volunteer work at the hospital?
Well, because Mary Smith is the manager of the chaplains, and I work in the chaplaincy office. And I told her that I would, if she needed me, I could volunteer to help her in any way I can.
I told you.
Yep, she just called and asked.
You just
I said
call her,
yes.
and she'll come. And I want to thank you for working with Work Sunday.
Oh, thank you.
Because you've been doing that ever
It'll
since
be-
we began.
It'll be 20 years this year.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about that.
I love it.
Yeah, but you have been a mainstay
Yeah.
at Work Sunday.
Yeah, I love
We want to
that.
give you a little gift about a token of
Oh.
our appreciation
Wow.
for
That's nice.
your willingness and your willingness to be
Thank you so much. Thank you.
a force.
Thank you, Laverne.
In Reston.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The tables have been turned.
Oh my goodness.
I'm interviewing you today. Reverend Gill, Reverend Laverne Gill. I'm interested to know, you have done so many things. I really don't know where to start. In the time that I've known you, I admire you and your interest in letting people know what the people in Reston have done. It's been a wonderful program. Why did you decide to do this?
This is a labor of love. I have always wanted to document what it is African Americans have done in this community. You know, some of my other history is documenting African American women in Congress, in my first book that I wrote. In my second book, I wrote about African biblical women.
I read that book.
And I just continue to want to put forth the history that I'm familiar with, and making certain that people know value that we've contributed to the world. And so I just see this as a small part of that. In my retirement, I decided, let me go ahead and do it.
Well, it's been an eye-opener to me. All of the rich things that people have given to the community and no one knows anything about it. And I was just talking to someone, and to know what people have done, if no one exposes it, no one knows anything about it. And just Reston as being a small community, what you have done with this program to bring the people together who focused on making things better for blacks in Reston. Just think about the other communities who really lose a lot because there's nothing to document the history.
Well, you know, and I want to give credit to Reston Community Television, because the role of community television is to be a vehicle where where local people can provide information, and it is an opportunity for people to have within their grasp media. And so I just think that the vehicle of community television makes this possible. And so that's one of the reasons we do it here. And it's also one of the reasons that I think community television exists. I don't think we use it enough.
Right, I think this gives them exposure, and the more programs we do and we reach other people, because after the program is done, we get a copy of it. I send it to other people so that they can see some of the things, and they're just absolutely awed at the rich history that has been provided, to the people in this community.
Well, I think it's fascinating when people come on, because these are people we know, we've seen around, we've seen in social settings, and most people are not going to tell you the things that they've done. You just kind of know what they've done, and you want to kind of pull it out of them.
Right.
And sometimes for people who are not behind the scenes, when people come in here for the program, it's almost like a family reunion. They haven't seen somebody for a long time. And then they sit down and they listen to their stories. And they didn't realize that the people did all of these things, or that they were that accomplished in the fields that they were in. So it's a community event, just coming into the studio.
It's such a rich history, and it should be passed on to our young people too, so that they will know some of the things. Maybe they can get involved and do some of the same things. I know we have the segment on the next generation, which exposes some of that. But at some point, I think you need to get something together where people can come to see and hear all of the things that have done, because it's absolute. I'm just absolutely amazed by the things that have done that they've done.
Well, actually, you know, this month, Black History Month, we will be sharing some of this with the Herndon Rotary and with United Christian Parish. They have a special program on Reston's African American Legacy Series. I'm a Rotarian, and so the Rotary has asked me to do this presentation for Rotary. So it will get around, and it is online. It's archived online. And so when we're gone somewhere into the hitherlands, it'll be there
Right.
for people to see, and I think that's what's so very important. You know, what's so interesting is that I wrote the book on African American women in Congress, and you know, one of the first African American women in Congress was Shirley Chisholm.
Yes.
Do you know that there are actually young people who don't know who Shirley Chisholm
Yes,
is?
I know.
Or who was? She ran for president. She was, you know, one of the foremost congresswomen, and they don't even know who she is. Barbara Jordan. They didn't know who Barbara Jordan was.
Yes. And this is why we have that rich history that we can continue to promote. It can be used in the month when we do Black History to show some of the things that the people in Reston have done.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's segmented, you know, you can take these segments, you know, we've had military people on, we've had educators, mathematicians, scientists.
It covers
We
everything.
We have some inventors coming on next in some of our upcoming series. And so I'm just glad that we're able to share those things. And I'm so glad that you've been here to help me.
Yes, you have opened up my eyes to many things, and this has been one of the richest, and I love it, and I continue to promote it and tell everybody about it. I want to thank you for letting me interview you. The tables have been turned.
Oh dear.
Thank you very much.
This is Reston's African American Legacy Program. Thanks for watching.